Please join me in giving a warm welcome to the Virginia Beach City Manager, Dave Hansen.
Well, thank you, Mark. Representing the city of Virginia Beach at this event is certainly a privilege for me. And it's nice to be back at the Westin. Did you know that just like the amphitheater and the expansion of the Lynn Haven Mall and even the Sandler Center, this facility was the product of a successful investment partnership. The Westin was part of Town Center Phase 3. Contrary to what many of you think, we don't do a lot of these major projects. Altogether, only about a dozen in the last 25 years. But they are the key to spurring the kind of development that will help Virginia Beach reach its full potential. And nowhere in our city is that full potential more evident and shows more promise than right here in the Central Business District. To me, Town Center epitomizes the spirit, tenacity, and vision for the potential that is Virginia Beach. Today, I'll review where we've been and what we've accomplished, especially this last year. But I think it's important to focus on the future and working to achieve our full potential. 19 years ago, we turned mostly vacant land into a town center, which is something Virginia Beach lacked at that time. Business leaders like Gerald DeVaris, Dan Hoffler, Lou Haddad, Fred Napolitano, Richard Oliveri, together with Louis Jones, Barbara Henley, and Jim Spohr, spearheaded plans and financing, and the City Council put together the necessary zoning and funding to put it all in place. Now, this quick version doesn't do justice to the years of commitment it took before Town Center became a reality, but I think you'll agree with me that this is the template of how you do public-private partnerships the right way. Thanks to business and government leaders with bigger visions for the potential of Virginia Beach, our central business is a major economic engine for our city. It generates more than $8 million a year in tax revenues that pay for everyday services we provide throughout the city. Services like schools and parks, public safety, and roads. That means Town Center benefits every single resident of Virginia Beach, even if they never come here. Last year, we welcomed the new kid on the block here in Town Center, Block 9, that is, the incredible performance space that is Zyder's American Dream Theater, together with the additional apartments, retail shops, and restaurants, define what it means to be a place where people can live, work, and play. Soon, the new Hyatt Hotel will open nearby. And thank you, Chris Perry. And when the Wegmans opens in just a few months, it'll be a whole new ball game. Now, I must confess, I have never been to a Wegmans. And I am told I do not have the proper appreciation, nor do I have the reverence. I'm looking forward to seeing what all this fuss is about. So thank you, Mike Siphon, and welcome store manager Mike Coyle. 56 years ago, residents overwhelmingly approved a merger of the two centers of gravity for our region, Princess Anne County and the city of Virginia Beach. And in the years since, though multiple economic centers have developed across our city, the heart of our economic vitality is right here in Town Center. And let us not forget, the soul is at our resort. As business leaders in our community, you know that the strategic investments this city makes in certain projects directly benefit our residents through increased revenues and additional amenities. These investments attract new customers for our local businesses, which means new revenues for our city. The new money goes to our schools and public safety. It builds our infrastructure and improves our stormwater systems. By enlarging the tax base, we are growing the economy, which reduces pressure to raise taxes or cut services to pay for other programs. My focus always has been and continues to be on growing our economy. I look around the country and see how so many cities struggling to come back from the years of decline, population losses, failing schools, crumbling infrastructure, and shuttered factories. You've probably read the same stories I have. Cities, towns, and even states offering people money just to come there. Vermont is offering to pay people $10,000, and so is Tulsa, Oklahoma. And Maine, there are programs to help pay off student loans just for graduates that will move there. How fortunate we are to live in a place where different choices are possible and where we have such a solid foundation that we get to talk about the possibilities of reaching our potential. We can only reach our full potential as a city when our entire community, from Shore Drive to Pungo and from Centerville to the oceanfront, realizes how each part contributes to the whole. We can only reach that potential when we recognize that growth is absolutely essential to ensuring our long-term viability as a city that delivers high-quality services and provides great value for the taxes we pay. We can only reach our full potential when we can adapt to changes in our environment. Whether it's rising sea levels or disruptive innovations like online home rentals, Uber, Lyft, and even scooter rentals, our ability to respond and adjust is critical to the long-term health of our community. Think of how different things would be if we hadn't found a way to pipe water from Lake Gaston 125 miles away to provide our city with an abundant supply of fresh drinking water. Where would we be if we hadn't purchased 1,192 acres, then known as Lake Ridge in 1994, that former planning director Bob Scott called our Louisiana Purchase, and opened up opportunities for development investments? The academic village with TCC, ODU, and Norfolk State, Lansdowne Commons, the medical and health sciences village with Centera, LifeNet, CHKD, and Operation Smile, and the athletic village with the Sportsplex, Fieldhouse, playing fields, and our brand new Parks and Recreation headquarters. Imagine what would have happened if we had not effectively responded to the base realignment and closing commission's plan to close NAS Oceana, and in doing so, you all saved our military installations. What would our resort have been if we had not done Operation Big Beach? We tripled the width of the beach, we built a new seawall and a boardwalk, complete with an integrated stormwater collection system with pump stations. That set the stage for the significant private sector investment we've all seen take place. If you're sensing a theme here, you're right. It's not just where we want to live, because let's be honest, Virginia Beach is a pretty cool place to live. It's about how we want to live. It means offering a range of affordable living options, from oceanfront to riverfront, from rural to urban. It means providing high-quality daycare, kindergarten, public schools education. It's about living in a place where volunteerism is part of a community fabric, and our diversity and humanity lead us to do things like open a housing resource center so that we can provide food, shelter, health services, and counseling for those less fortunate than ourselves. It's about creating an environment that draws new business and helps existing businesses expand and bring jobs that attract the next generation. So what do young people look for when choosing a new place to live? They look for the coolness factor and a variety of available jobs. How fortunate we are, unlike other cities, you can find such an incredible range of diversity here in Virginia Beach. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Virginia Beach. So let me show you what I mean. That video highlights so many great things about our city. But to reach our full potential, I believe we need to break the either-or mindset that limits our thinking. It's not a question of having good schools or good roads, clean drinking water or clean beaches, economic development or flood control. These dichotomies set up inaccurate narratives and create false choices. It's not either grow or not grow, it's about how we grow. We must grow if we're going to remain competitive, attract millennials and Gen Zers to replace our retiring workforce, and grow our tax base so we can spread the cost of services among the many. Investments in tourism-related projects and investments in our neighborhoods ensure we create new revenues. This provides the financial capacity we need to both sustain what we have and incentivize continued growth. However, our ability to grow is faced with the impending threat of sea level rise and recurrent flooding. To remain the preferred coastal city on the East Coast, we must truly understand this enemy, and through engineered solutions, significantly increase our efforts to preserve the safety of our citizens and businesses. The task at hand is not only to create the solutions, but also the financing necessary to effect positive results over the next 3 decades. The financing we need will require a combination of growing our tax base, dedicating increased tax and fees, and responding and reprogramming some of our existing services so we have the ability to deliver unprecedented portfolio solutions. Now, let me be clear. I'm not suggesting that we can do everything and be everything to all people. I'm suggesting what we can do and what we have done is build a balanced and consistent program of capital investments and service delivery that ensures Virginia Beach doesn't just survive, but that it continues to thrive. The Virginia Beach City Council's long and strong history of adopting fiscal policies and wisely allocating resources through the budget process has enabled us to address the whole spectrum of needs for services, growth, sustainment, advancement, and responses to emergency situations. Fundamentally, it's about vision, prioritization, and balance. And it is rooted in our sound financial decision-making and our comprehensive plan. Speaking of the comprehensive plan, we will be updating it over the next 2 years. We'll be asking you to participate through a variety of public engagement opportunities so that you have a voice in our city's future. We will be focused on what we want to look like in 2030. That's just 11 years from now. I hope you'll get involved with us so the business community's perspectives can be heard. So enough of that. On to the year in review highlights. How did we do in 2018? Let's take a look at just a sum of what we accomplished. As you heard me say earlier, we cut the ribbon on the great new addition to Town Center, Block 9. It's simply marvelous. And thank you, Mark Zeider and Lou Haddad. Across the city, we added 2,400 new jobs, retained 5,800 jobs, and realized $319 million in private capital investment. None was bigger than Global Technical Systems, which by itself will create over 1,100 new well-paying jobs on the site of the former Owls Creek Golf Course on Bird Neck Road in a new $55 million advanced manufacturing facility. Thank you, Yuson and Terry Spitzer, for selecting Virginia Beach. Along with GTS, we welcome new companies including Global Links, ACA International, and Point One. Corporate Landing is becoming our growing data center hub. We have firmly established Virginia Beach as a digital port now that the fastest and largest capacity subsea cables in the world have come ashore. We saw the doors of the majestic Cavalier Hotel open following several years of painstaking and very expensive renovations. Thank you, Bruce Thompson and partners, for bringing back a part of our history and doing it in such spectacular fashion. Thanks to City Council's resolve and timely action, we started construction of a new 285,000 square foot sports center, which will advance our resort as a year-round destination. With convertible courts and an NCAA articulated track, the new sports center is the first of its kind on the East Coast, not housed in a college or university campus. The next generation venue is where athletes and fans will create memories that will last well beyond the games. I want to recognize the project team, especially George Clark and Mark Olmstead of MEB General Contractors and John Wack of Eastern Sports Management. They worked with Deputy City Manager Ron Williams and CVB Director Brad Van Dommelen to make this a reality. We reached agreement with Venture Realty Group on terms for developing Atlantic Park, which will be the single largest public-private investment project in our city's history. It will contain experiential retail, restaurants, office, residential components, along with two signature elements, the Dome and the Wave, which will provide year-round entertainment from residents and visitors alike. Thank you, Mike Culpepper, Donna McMillan Whitaker, John Gibson, and Pharrell Williams. We reached the first of its kind agreement with the Navy last year and resulted in a joint fire station at Fort Story that was brought online in June. We have two major aquarium projects. We broke ground on the new Darden Marine Animal Conservation Center in November. It will house aquatic animal collections, education outreach, and research and conservation programs, including stranding response. The second project is the South Building that was formerly known as the Marsh Pavilion. This project recently went out to bid, and as you can see, it's an extensive renovation that includes new exhibits, interactive experiences for guests, a new toddler play area, and a new vet center where animals will receive care. I want to give special acknowledgement to the Aquarium Foundation, which raised over $14 million towards a total of $45 million to make these two projects happen. From roads and bridges to bike lanes, we continue to invest in our transportation infrastructure. There's one project that stands out last year, and of course, it's the fantastic Lesnar Bridge. Thanks to the Bayfront Advisory Commission and the leadership of Cal Kassir, along with a team from Public Works, especially project manager Chris Witowitz, this $120 million bridge replacement spans the Lynn Haven Inlet and is complete with LED lighting and the beautiful canoe sculpture, thanks to Emily and the Arts Commission. Virginia Beach continues to promote regional collaboration. Last fall, we announced the first step towards connecting all 5 Southside cities in the transatlantic cable landings, starting with tying together ODU's campuses at Norfolk and Virginia Beach. This is part of our regional broadband strategy that will unite all 17 Hampton Roads jurisdictions with affordable broadband and sufficient bandwidth to incentivize 21st century startups, incubators, and accelerators. It's that regional collaboration that resulted in the win of the 5 Southside cities for Smart City Infrastructure funding. In collaboration with Hampton Roads Planning District Commission, we competed as a region against 69 teams from around the nation. It was a Shark Tank-like competition for $50 million in grant funding, project financing, and support for smart infrastructure plans. Thank you to former Virginia Beach City Council member Ben Davenport and Norfolk City Council member Andrea McClellan, who represent the regional effort in this competition, and we brought back the gold. We are continuing to build our biomedical business cluster and are finalizing our development agreement to begin construction of the first building to occupy the new Innovation Park. It will be a biomedical accelerator to house startup businesses. I am proud to report to you that our strength as a city where businesses thrive is receiving national recognition. For example, in 2018, Inc. magazine named Virginia Beach one of the best places in America for starting a business. But that's just one of the accolades our city received last year. There were others. We were named the second best big city to live and one of the best places in America for veterans to live. For the 3rd year in a row, we were recognized by the Center of Digital Government as the #1 in its Digital City Survey, and we won the Smart City Challenge for innovative smart water solutions. Virginia Beach was named a top 10 city where millennials are moving, probably in part because we are also recognized as one of America's most affordable beach towns, one of the safest, and one of the most caring cities in the country. While we focus on our problems and issues, every once in a while, it's good to be reminded of all the great things that others see in us. One of the great things we see all around us is water. In this case, though, I'm talking about a dependable drinking water supply. It's one of the things you don't have to think about too much, but we do. That's why in 2018, the city extended its water services contract with Norfolk through 2060 to ensure continued quality services for Virginia Beach residents. Thank you, Deputy City Manager Tom Leahy, Utilities Director Bob Montague, and then Mayor and Councilmember Lewis Jones and the entire City Council. Last year alone, more than 15,000 people volunteered over 1 million hours of their time doing everything from saving sea turtles to saving human lives as part of a rescue squad. All that added up to over $28 million in value. So earlier, I surfaced the issue of public enemy number one, sea level rise and recurrent flooding. If you have not seen the briefing we provided the City Council on January 15th on the results of the Dewberry study, I encourage you to review it. Here are the facts. Sea level is a foot higher than it was just 50 years ago. It is rising about an inch every 5 years. We are experiencing more frequent and more intense storms. And studies indicate we are looking at another 1.5 feet of sea level rise over the next 20 to 40 years and 3 feet in 50 to 70 years. This set of circumstances and a lot of engineering analysis is being performed so our city can effectively combat these issues. In fact, we currently invest as much money in our stormwater infrastructure as we do in roads and schools. The goals of the Dewberry study were to assess, model, create strategies to help us establish long-term resilience to sea level rise, and along with our master drainage study, assist with recurrent flooding. Dewberry has identified a combination of adaptation strategies, engineering solutions, building code modifications, and coastal flood protection infrastructure we will be considering as part of the final report we'll deliver in the next 3 months. It's a heavy lift, and I want to thank Dr. Brian Batten and the team of Dewberry, along with Deputy City Manager Tom Leahy, Public Works Director Mark Johnson, and the brainy staff in our Stormwater Center of Excellence. We are getting our arms around this enemy. Safety from flooding is only one component of a safe city. Reducing crime and providing effective emergency response is another. I could not be more proud of our first responders whose work continues to deliver the kind of results that make Virginia Beach one of the safest large cities in the country. I'd like to acknowledge this afternoon the city's public safety leadership. Deputy City Manager Steve Cover, Police Chief Jim Severa, Fire Chief Dave Hutchinson, EMS Chief Ed Brazel, and ECCS 911 Director Stephen Williams. Thank you, gentlemen, and the men and women who keep us safe. Few aspects of our community are more important than to our overall quality of life and the ability to attract new residents than our schools. Fortunately, our school system is among the best in the country, as evidenced by the fact that, for the second year in a row, 100% of Virginia Beach City Public Schools achieved accreditation. That's 82 schools, which is an incredible accomplishment. Thank you, School Superintendent Dr. Aaron Spence, the school board, and the entire public schools team. You set a high bar and you're achieving extraordinary results. I shared with you today just some of the many accomplishments we have realized last year. And at your place, you'll find an annual accomplishments issue of City Page. Please take a look at some of the other highlights that we accomplished from 2018. Now, let us look forward. We must roll up our collective sleeves, understand the unprecedented challenges, and realize the incredible opportunities that lie ahead. To reach our full potential, we must remain steadfast in our commitment to attract new businesses, create new jobs, embrace new lifestyle choices, build new infrastructure, welcome new residents. This is what will keep Virginia Beach the preferred coastal community on the East Coast. Be brave, be bold, but be involved. Thank you very much.